Scientists have at last disclosed what lies at the bottom of the Oak Island money grave. It's similar to a traditional tale about concealed riches and traps, but with a twist. Despite the fact that we know precisely where the treasure is concealed, recovering it has proven to be an arduous task. In most instances, the greatest difficulty in locating buried treasure is in locating it. In this case, however, it is retrieving it that poses the greatest challenge. Numerous individuals have theorized and attempted to solve this issue, but no one has yet been successful. The mystery encircling Oak Island and its fabled lost wealth has attracted countless treasure hunters for over 2 centuries, but scientists have now revealed what is at the bottom of the Oak Island money pit. Despite the efforts of numerous people, including notable figures such as Franklin D. Roosevelt, Errol Flynn, and John Wayne, the treasure remained stubbornly buried in the earth, resulting in the deaths of several people. In 1795, a man named Daniel McGinnis discovered a strange circular depression on an uninhabited island off the coast of Nova Scotia. McGinnis, a fan of the genre, decided to investigate the depression after hearing rumors that Captain Kidd had buried 2 million pounds of treasure east of Boston. The following day, McGinnis and his companions returned to the site and began excavating. Initially, the ground was very soft, but after roughly 3 meters, they struck something solid. It was a piece of oak, not a hoard of gold. Initially, this did not appear to be much, but as the men delved deeper, they discovered another plank, and then another. Along the sidewalls of the trench they were excavating, this was the first indication of the odd, unexplainable events that would plague the search for Captain Kidd's wealth. The treasure hunters were determined to obtain Captain Kidd's loot, but the discovery of the mined flood system was a significant setback. Despite the apparent value of whatever was at the bottom of the hole, accessing it was exceedingly difficult due to the elaborate security measures in place. The Toro crew dug numerous shafts to approach the pit from a variety of directions, but their efforts were frequently thwarted by water and sudden cave-ins. They were ultimately compelled to abandon their search for the treasure, forever altering the allure of Oak Island. Since then, swarms of people have flocked to Oak Island in the hopes of excavating the money pit's buried riches. Over the past 170 years, countless explorers have flocked to Oak Island in quest of the rumored legendary treasure buried at the bottom of the money pit. Some have attempted to avoid the complex booby traps in the flood tunnels, while others have dug ditches on other parts of the island, frequently at the cost of human life and spawning fanciful rumors of a curse. In spite of the development of ever more advanced instruments, such as steam pumps in the 1860s and divers in 1909, treasure hunters have attempted and failed throughout history. Even though they sent researchers during an episode of The Curse of Oak Island disclosed the history of an old artifact. The Lagina crew consults with leather expert Joe Landry in order to assess a piece of leather that was found close to the money pit. They learn that the leather was tanned with oak bark and that it was produced in the medieval times. It might have been taken from the boot of a medieval officer. To check for the presence of any type of dye, the team is considering performing some further tests. They emphasize the importance of using science and specialized expertise in order to comprehend the artifact and discover more about the history of this recently discovered ancient treasure. When a piece of leather was discovered next to the money pit, the team led by Rick and Marty Lagena met with Joe Landry, an expert on rare papers and artifacts, to examine it. In addition, Joe points out that the leather was tanned utilizing an ancient technique known as oak bark tanning. The group speculates that it may have been a portion of a boot from a military commander who wore it during the historical period connected to the money pit, and that it may have been discovered in the money pit. If this interpretation is correct, it might indicate a connection between this object and a leather boot sole that was previously found nearby. The committee considers whether additional tests may be performed to determine whether the leather was ever dyed in any way, as this could reveal more information about the object's age. The need of using science and specialized expertise to understand the artifacts and learn the larger tale hidden beneath it is generally emphasized. Joe is thanked for his guidance, and they then talk about the next actions they should do. They talk about the various steps that need to be taken, like looking at potential cultural effects and consulting other experts. They expressed gratitude for the chance to dig into this kind of information, which is unusual to find in Canada or Nova Scotia, and their excitement to share the findings with the team's other members. They are generally optimistic about the prospect of new discoveries that may result from further investigation and highly value Joe's vast knowledge base. Oak Island is surrounded by a network of water-filled anhydrite holes and sits atop a glacial tumulus system. These two factors could be the cause of the pit's ongoing flooding. Multiple floods have submerged Oak Island, which is a pit. The creation of caves and other natural cavities is caused by the fact that this specific variation of limestone is highly prone to dissolving in the presence of water. At depths ranging from 38 to 45 meters, 125 to 148 feet, bedrock can be found close to the pit. People have been searching for and attempting to locate antiques and hidden riches since the 18th century. Shakespearean manuscripts, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and pirate booty are a few examples of the kinds of things that have been theorized to be on the island. The Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant may have both been interred on the island, in accordance with a well-liked theory. Throughout the years, several artifacts that were first found on the island have surfaced. Today, carbon dating has allowed us to estimate the age of some of these items to be hundreds of years. There are rumors that under the dunes, swamps, and forests of Oak Island are hidden caches of pirate booty, long-lost money left by the Knights Templar, Civil War loot, and even clues to the horrific truth about who really wrote Shakespeare's plays. These are only a few of the treasures said to be located beneath Oak Island. The Lagena brothers and the rest of the crew always go into a dig episode or season with the hopeful belief that they will certainly get their money's worth. They keep on being happy even when they discover things that locate antiques and hidden riches since the 18th century. Shakespearean manuscripts, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and pirate booty are a few examples of the kinds of things that have been theorized to be on the island. The Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant may have both been interred on the island, in accordance with a well-liked theory. Throughout the years, several artifacts that were first found on the island have surfaced. Today, carbon dating has allowed us to estimate the age of some of these items to be hundreds of years. There are rumors that under the dunes, swamps, and forests of Oak Island are hidden caches of pirate booty, long-lost money left by the Knights Templar, Civil War loot, and even clues to the horrific truth about who really wrote Shakespeare's plays. These are only a few of the treasures said to be located beneath Oak Island. The Lagena brothers and the rest of the crew always go into a dig episode or season with the hopeful belief that they will certainly get their money's worth. They keep on being happy even when they discover things that aren't always worth reporting on, such money scattered about, decaying fabric, and pottery shards. But the truth is that some of the most intriguing finds in the Curse of Oak Island aren't precisely what some of us would perceive to be treasure. Possible candidates for the treasure's connection to the island include the infamous Scottish pirate Captain Kidd, who lived in the 17th century, the English playwright William Shakespeare, and the Knights Templar, a medieval order of holy warriors who amassed enormous wealth and power and were thought to have hidden the fabled Holy Grail. Henry V, the author of English plays, is one of the further candidates. Without respect to the origin of the treasure, the story of how it ended up on scientists have just announced a startling new discovery that solves the Oak Island enigma. What lies beneath the island's surface is so enigmatic that you will not believe it. What numerous other treasure hunters have been unable to accomplish, a team of researchers equipped with the most advanced technology has finally accomplished. They have found the answer to the Oak Island enigma, and the response is, simply stated, nobody saw that coming as scientists just announced the solution to the Oak Island mystery. Using ground-penetrating radar, the team was able to successfully create a detailed map of the island's subterranean terrain. They discovered a labyrinthine system of tunnels and chambers, the likes of which had never been seen before, and which was substantially larger than anyone had anticipated. After analyzing the data, they made the most surprising discovery. The scientists determined that the tunnels and chambers did not form by accident. Instead, they arranged themselves in a precise geometric pattern that was a perfect match for the ancient symbols discovered in the writings of the Templar Order. Oak Island's mystery has been associated with the medieval Christian military order known as the Knights Templar for a very long time. Some individuals are under the impression that they concealed their legendary wealth on the island, and it appears that the researchers have finally solved this mystery's code. Nonetheless, the story does not end there. An additional significant discovery was made by the researchers, something with the potential to utterly transform our understanding of Oak Island and its history. Within one of the compartments, they discovered artifacts buried to a considerable depth. Not gold or gems, but ancient writings that have been meticulously preserved in airtight containers. The texts are composed in a language that has not yet been identified as the original language, a language with the potential to cast light on the mystery surrounding the Oak Island tunnels and their purpose. Currently, the researchers are working diligently to decipher the inscriptions. They are confident in their ability to uncover Oak Island's true story, a story that has been kept under wraps for centuries. Since the 18th century, treasure hunters have been concentrating their efforts on a small, forested island off the coast of Nova Scotia in Canada. The island is renowned throughout the world for its money pit, which is an enigmatic hole in the ground that is rumored to conceal incalculable wealth. Gold from pirate ships, jewels believed to have been lost by Marie Antoinette, and even the Holy Grail have all been mentioned as potential treasures that could be concealed within its depths. Over the past 2 centuries and a half, explorers from all corners of the globe have endeavored to decipher the code. They have dug, drilled, and even used explosives to gain access to the island's interior in an attempt to uncover its buried mysteries. However, despite all of their efforts, the island has managed to keep its wealth a closely guarded secret up until this point. The coin of the Templars that was discovered on Oak Island is another intriguing artifact. This development has surprised numerous specialists. Is it feasible? 30s donated money to multiple expeditions. According to legend, King George VI of England instructed 2 treasure hunters to submit their finds. Despite numerous searches, the treasures of Oak Island have evaded discovery. Rick and Marty Lagina, brothers who were filming their treasure search on Oak Island for the History Channel, were in charge. The fact that this is the 9th season of the program could be indicative of how successful their quest has been thus far. The siblings have unearthed a variety of intriguing artifacts, such as money, weapons, and jewelry, but they have yet to find Captain Kidd's legendary loot. The longer one searches without discovering the treasure, the more reasonable it becomes to question its very existence. The story should be regarded as a myth, despite the fact that many people have searched for his riches. The discovery of evidence that Daniel McGuinness had discovered the money pit in the 1790s did not occur until 1857. In addition, the account differs based on the cited source. There is little evidence to suggest that Captain Kidd concealed valuables on Oak Island, and the popular conception of pirates is wholly fictitious. Walking the plank and other stereotypes, such as parrots and prosthetic legs, are not supported by substantial evidence. The portrayal of Robin Newton as Long John Silver in the 1950 film adaptation of Treasure Island also contributed to the mythologizing of the infamous pirate incident. Contrary to conventional belief, there is only one well-documented case of a pirate actually burying treasure, and it wasn't them, Captain William Kidd. Be sure to stay informed and subscribe for more information on recent discoveries and findings. On Gardner Island, 500 miles away, Kidd buried his wealth, which was discovered less than a year later and used as evidence in his trial and execution. However, it is also conceivable that Kidd hid treasure on Oak Island. Why would Kidd, or any pirate for that matter, go through the trouble of excavating a 30-meter deep booby-trapped pit to conceal treasure if the objective was merely to keep anything valuable secure? A few meters would have sufficed, correct? Even if Kidd did bury wealth on Oak Island, it is likely lost forever due to the inability of modern technology, such as ground-penetrating radar, to discover it. In 1995, the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution conducted a scientific investigation of Oak Island to locate any concealed treasure. As a result of their investigation, the crew came to the disappointing conclusion that the fabled inundation of the money pit was not the result of a complex trap, but rather the result of natural geological processes on the island. In Nova Scotia, near Oak Island, there are sinkholes that share some characteristics with the original money pit. Even if the cryptography stones and oak platforms discovered in the money pit appear to disprove this theory, it is important to note that many of these critical pieces of evidence have not vanished despite having been a part of the Oak Island legend for more than a century. Scientists are astounded by a startling new discovery, which can be viewed by clicking the following video. From under it, and found copper in a well-preserved cartwheel 2 pence. Drayton uses his metal detector to focus on a signal, which Lagina uses as a guide to find and unearth a jeweled brooch. Leaded glass was used to make the gem, and gold was utilized to make the other parts of the jewelry. This archaeological gem was uncovered thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but an authority on antiquities has speculated that it might have been a javelin, a weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal object in the 2nd episode of the 9th season that appears to be the object they have been looking for since the beginning of the show. Further inspection reveals that only a small fraction of the object is truly made of gold. Through each season, the show explores the exploits of full-time treasure hunters, and the secrets surrounding Oak Island only grow more complicated. For historical research, their findings made with metal detectors open up previously imagined doors, but you can get the same results with your own gear. Always make careful to get permission before searching for anything on someone else's property or on open space. It is widely acknowledged that the discovery of the island's money pit marked the beginning of the history of treasure hunting on Oak Island. The pit, often known as the money pit, is a human-made hole that is frequently assumed to be the location of the lost treasures. The story goes that in 1795, while on an adventure on the island, a group of boys around the age of 13 discovered a dip in the earth. They began digging since they believed it to be a fake hole, and as they dug, they found multiple layers of wood and other things. However, a mysterious flood stopped them in their tracks, filling the hole with water and blocking any further excavation. As soon as word of the discovery spread, treasure seekers from all over the world flocked to Oak Island to look for the loot. The Onslow Company, a group of financiers, organized the first orderly excavation of the money pit in the year 1803. Despite their best efforts, the gang was unable to reach the bottom of the hole, and as a result, they had to cease digging. Many various groups made attempts to unravel the riddles surrounding the island throughout the course of the ensuing century, but they were all in vain. The most serious of these was the flooding of the pit, which made unsafe and difficult further research in the area. The hole was also equipped with a number of intricate devices that, when activated, would force the pit to overflow with water and prevent access to the treasure. Please subscribe and enable post notifications if you want to learn about more exciting discoveries. Despite these challenges, the excavations continued, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. This specific team was able to dig down to a depth of 90 feet before the flooding that happened in the pit once more hampered their attempts. The excavations were permanently halted in 1909 as the Oak Island Treasure Company went out of business. Since then, several other parties have made an effort to find the treasure buried on Oak Island, but the riddle of the money pit has remained unsolved to this day. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations on the island both had a significant impact on the history of the island and the ongoing search for treasure there. Despite the challenges and barriers that were faced, this is true. The 300 years that have been spent looking for treasure on Oak Island have not lessened interest in the mystery, despite the numerous difficulties and failures that have been encountered. A number of new organizations have stepped up to the plate in recent years with the goal of unlocking the island's mysteries. One of the most significant recent events was the founding in 2010 of the Oak Island Tourism Society, an institution dedicated to the preservation of the island's heritage and the promotion of tourism. The organization has significantly contributed to raising public knowledge of Oak Island and the treasure hunt. The group has also participated in a number of island-wide archaeological digs. Unusual force discovered on an unusual island. To learn more right away, simply click the video below.